We are already at the 25th of January, 2024. We are already 1 month into 2024. The year is flying. I did say it was going to go quick. I didn't think it was going to go this quick. It is going to be 2025 soon enough, but we got a few things to talk about around what's going on this year, maybe a little bit about what we learned last year, and perhaps how we might be able to put some brakes on or at least keep up with the pace of everything that's happening right now. So I am joined, or welcome everybody to the Social Butterfly, where we go live each week talking about all things around marketing, sales, business, systems, and all the other good things that go into making this entrepreneurial journey fun. I'm always joined by my business coach, Michael Clift, who is mastering chaos to accelerate profits and free you from your business, right, which is pretty cool. And I'm Katrina from Butterfly Media, and we shine a light on amazing people doing amazing things using the internet. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
How you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Good. Very good. This is our first session back for 2024.
It is.
Welcome back.
Oh, welcome back to you.
There's a song in there, I'm sure.
No doubt.
All right. So,
yeah.
how have you been? How's 2024 gone for you so far?
Can't believe it's the end of January.
Just like that.
Running. It's all getting everything going so that we can. Yes, it's all about 10 years. Everything is for 10 years.
It's funny. I often say, if anybody knows, I've got my dog Betty, and I often say every time it's her birthday, I'm going to have you for another 10 years. And I just found out she's turning 10 in February, so it's going to be a good one, right? That's the main goal.
That goes quick.
Yeah, I can't believe it. But anyway, I thought what we might do, or we decided that we might have a bit of a chat around time and what's been happening with it, taking a little look at maybe some of the lessons that we learned in 2023. And I'd love it if you guys had any conversations around that are listening. 2023 seems like it was 10 years ago right now, but what did we learn in 2023? There was a lot that went on. I'm sure everybody just individually in business had a lot going on, but just, as a collective, there was a lot happening.
It
was a big year. So maybe we can start there. Let's take a look at what have we learned from 2023, and what have we learned? What have we left behind? So, Michael, what were some of your big lessons from 2023?
I think there's probably two that are real standouts for me right now, because I personally achieved a lot. Venture cultivation coaching achieved a lot in 2023. It was a big year. We 4x the business, so massive. We helped a lot of people do a lot of really good things. The two standouts, though, the first one was, I would suggest, finding my voice on social media, really starting to get in a rhythm with it. Most people wouldn't know it, and people get a little bit surprised when I talk about this, but I've never particularly liked social media, and I've avoided it like the plague. I've no interest, but for me to do the things that I want to do, I've had to find a way to enjoy it so that I can do it consistently, so I can be there, because that's where all the people that I need to help are. So I'd say, and I've really gotten a rhythm, starting to connect people, learning the different things and how to really connect with people on this. And that's been really good for me, because if I'm in person with someone, I'm good. But on social media, it's a little bit of a challenge. Okay,
so you've learnt to love social media.
I don't know that I would go that far, but I like it more, and I'm getting more out of it than I have previously, a lot more. So, but more my voice, like the person that I am, like the people that meet me in person compared to what I am on social media, like it's just smooth transition.
Yeah.
And that I think that's really important, and a lot of people are missing that, because they are putting out what they think people want to see on social media, which is what I was doing. And now it's just like you get scruffy business coach looking dude that shows up on social media, but like he's getting stuff done and people resonate with it. So it's great. And then the other one was, well, you're wearing the hat. I may or may not have my hat today.
You went to the hat.
Yeah.
There's a story about the hat, you haven't heard.
But just with it, without going into a massive story about the hat, we can go, if people are interested, we can bring it up later. But like from the particular point of view of the hat is sort of, when I started this business, and one of my friends was giving me a really hard time about this because I was, especially not so much in the business space, but years ago when I was doing area management in the corporate world, like people, like that's how they knew me. He's a guy that's going to tell you not to be shit if you're not doing the right thing. And so they did the right thing. Like, and he's like, and when I started up, he was saying to me, "Oh, this is awesome. You're going to go help people. You're going to be telling them don't be shit." And he wanted to go and drop on all of my posts, "Don't be shit, don't be shit." I'm like, mate, just calm down. I'm trying to build a business. Don't need that going out there. Turns out that's what I needed to be saying because it resonates so much for people. And I was trying to hide that away because I didn't think that that's what's going to fit. And turns out it's probably the best thing that I've ever done for my business. And then one of my clients turned it into a hat, rocked that. Like, I didn't make the hat. One of my clients made the hat based off of what I was telling people. He's like, you should, like, he tried a different hat first off something else that I say. It didn't resonate. And he goes, okay, I want you to put this hat on. And then I put it up on social media, biggest social media post I've ever had. It's just gone crazy. Everyone wants the hat. And I'm like, oh, only clients get the hat. And then clients are like, yeah, I've got a hat.
Totally.
So, but what that showed me is the best way to show up in everything I do is just be me, because it's the easiest way for me to firstly distinguish myself from everyone else, which I thought I knew, but obviously not enough. So I had to relearn part of that. And the second part to it is it's such a great way for people to connect to you because they know who you are and they see it. And there's no difference, social media person. How about yourself?
Oh, before I do that, it's funny. Two things I got to say there. There's a particular person that's coming to mind right now that I know that was in the same boat as you. So just did not want to do social media. Was so happy to be infamous. Wanted to be able to raise a business in another way, right? Just didn't really want to do it. Thought, and it's fair enough, right? And some businesses don't need it. In fact, I was talking to someone the other day about it, and they're doing very well with BNI, funnily enough, and just bringing in what they want from a particular lead source, and they're happy, they're comfortable, there's enough, it's working for them, they don't want to expand. And they said, oh, I should do social media. And I'm like, well, you know what, really, if you don't need it, right, if it's not where you want to go, like this person wants to retire in a couple of years, they don't want to sell the business, they'll just exit, right? They're not interested in making a big name for themselves and bringing in more leads or all the things that social media does, right? So I said, don't do it. And they're like, great, I won't, right? So it's not, you don't always have to do it, but depending on where you're at, it's a very, very, very powerful tool and one that most businesses could consider. But this particular person,
it's free. Like when I grew up doing things, you had to pay to put stuff in the newspaper, you had to pay to put it on TV, you had to pay to put it on the radio. Social media is free.
Totally. You just pay with your time, which
yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
But you have to take your time to put on the radio.
But like you can pay for someone else's time and it'd still be free to put your stuff on there. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to pay to put out posts. But this person in the end embraced social media and is now doing very well. So has got comfortable putting themselves out there. They were very nervous about that part, being in front of camera and doing all of that work, which is nerve-wracking at the start. It's like sales, right? When it's about you, it's really nerve-wracking. When it's about them, it's easy. So when you get to that point, it starts to become a lot easier. So she was similar to you, and now she's, very comfortable and quite excited about jumping online and finding her people and just sort of understanding the reach she has now. So it's super interesting. There was something else you just said then, and I've lost my train of thought around socials. Anyway, they're big.
Come back to it when you remember it.
Yeah, my brain's always spinning when I speak with you. There's lots to talk about. But it's a big year for you, so that's fantastic. And I love the way you do social media. I learn a lot from you with the way you do social media. I love it.
I'm just rocking up to help one person at a time, and that method has been the thing that's got me there.
I like that one. Yeah, just help one person with a post. For me, I dare say 2023 was all about focus and scaling back. So the first half of the year or the first quarter of the year was gangbusters, doing very well in the ad space. Then we went a little bit too far and I had to realign some things. And then I started working with you and you helped me really focus in on some of the things that I needed to do rather than just being busy, which is so easy as a business owner to get bogged down in that. And then I think there would have to be some overcome of fear, lots of doing some of the scary stuff like sales calls and outreach and uncomfortable things that were focused. So again, back to the focus, and doing those uncomfortable things consistently on a daily basis has changed the game for me and changed the trajectory of the business completely. So focus and scary were the two big ones, I reckon. So now I'm like, is that scary? Should I focus on that? All right. So that were the big lessons. And then it's literally just understanding the power of outreach. The power of social media to help you with your outreach is incredibly, it's just unbelievable. It's undeniable. It really is.
Everyone gets so caught up on outreach and, talking about, it's like, especially on socials, it's like the equivalent of cold calling and we should do it and it feels uncomfortable and stuff like that. You're just literally starting a conversation, right? As long as you're not the person that gets that copy paste and drops it in there and goes, hi, we're a digital marketing company. This is what we do. Buy our services. Like, that is gross. But like, from a normal perspective, if you're just there having a conversation, and I guess the mindset that I like to offer to people is, if you can help that person get to where they want to be, and that may be make sure they're debt free, they've got a house, they can send their kids to whatever school they want, they can go on family holidays, or like, if they're single, they want to travel the world, or whatever that is, and you aren't helping them, why are you being selfish?
That one was always a good one, right?
Yeah. And it just makes people stop and think, because that's like, when you're not doing that, if it's something that will help you help more people and help you grow your business, it's generally about you, not about the other person.
That's the
Which
biggest lesson.
so you're focused on you, which means you are being selfish.
Yeah. I think in any stages of the business, like I speak to a lot of business owners and myself included, when we start our business, it's our passion, it's our baby, it's our thing that we love, right? So it's all about us and it's not about them most of the time. And the minute we make that switch and go, all right, how do I make a better service? How do I deliver a better solution? How do I turn up on socials so that they can find me, so that I can deliver to them? That's when the game changes. And that's a massive shift for a lot of people.
It's a huge shift for business in general, and I know this is off track, but just bear with me for a second, because I think this is really important for people and hopefully it resonates with a few people, is that when we have that shift and we start going, okay, what's our why? What's our vision? Why are we actually doing this? And what are our values and our mission? And we start sharing that. That is how not only do you attract your people as customers, but you also attract your people as your team, your community. So it's really important at some point within your business to make that switch, so that it impacts all the way through both internal and external stakeholders within your business. And the stakeholder, if anyone's unsure, is just someone who benefits from the success of your business. And that helps people align with what you're doing. And if you're missing, like, I understand that, and it's generally, let's talk the first 100K. It's generally in that first 100K, it has to be about you, because you have to get to the point that you can think about other people and you can do this stuff. The problem is you have to transition, because it is about other people and you're not the main character in the story. And if you want, you need to play a supporting role in other people's story if you want to continually have them purchase what you're doing, whether it's a product or service.
Such a good spot to get to. So empowering when you get there. But that first, you've got to go through the trenches to get there. And then you just of service is such a good spot. Yeah. I think the other big thing for my business this year was this. Whenever I feel I'm like, oh, should I? And I'm like, go through it.
I had two of my clients, but actually I was at an event, they were both there, and we were talking, and one of them goes, "Oh, hang on, just quickly," and he ran something by me, and he said, "Oh, sorry," to the other person. He said, "Oh, sorry, I have to run it by Michael before I can go do it." And he's like, "I have two little things on my shoulders, and they're not an angel and a devil. It's just two Michaels with a don't be shit hat."
So there's actually no getting off the hook, right? You're like, just literally don't.
I found that really funny.
I know the feeling. All right, so we've had some big lessons. Understanding social media and its role, right? But for you, using, coming to it and understanding the power of it rather than not liking it, and you have fully embraced it and you use it very well. So you in person, you online, is the same experience, and all roads lead to Rome.
Yeah.
So even off that. So social media as the powerful tool that it is, focus is huge. It's so easy to get distracted. So easy. So focus is massive, and maybe a bit of this as well. And maybe doing some scary stuff. So there are some big lessons to take into 2024, which is got roller skates on it and, I don't know, a jet engine. So here we are, right? Looking forward into 2024, making plans like everybody did at the beginning of the year. Let's look at some of the mistakes that you see around people making plans.
Okay. So from that particular point of view, there's 5 mistakes that people make when they're setting up the year ahead. And the first one is setting goals without a path to get there. The second one is they don't look at what they're going to say no to, like they're not taking things away. The third one is there's no focus on why they want to achieve it, like the actual goals they're setting. There's no alignment between where they are now and the goals they're going to get, and if it's achievable, and then they're not prepared for the inevitable roadblocks.
What was the second one?
Yeah.
Just so because I'm making notes. So no pathway to the goal.
Yeah, I can break them all down in depth if you want. So there's a bit more around it. I just want to rattle them off first.
Okay.
So let's go back to number one. So they set goals without a path to get there. So what happens is someone goes, all right, I want to have $1 million business. Let's just short business for a minute. I want to have or actually we're social media. I want to have 10,000 followers by the end of 2024. Right? Mm-hmm. Cool. That's awesome. How are you going to get there? You don't get in a car and go, oh, I'm going to whoop-de-doo-da-dup-dup, which is a place you've never been before, without looking at a map, planning where you're going. If you were sensible about it, checking where the petrol stations are, if there's some along the way, stuff like that. If I'm assuming we're in a country where like there's space and it's not just like there's a petrol station every half an hour kind of thing, right? Are we going to need to stop? How long does it take us to get there? If we've got someone else traveling with us, let's say it's kids, what have we got to keep them entertained? Like we plan all of those things out. But if you just go, cool, I'm going to get 10,000 followers, and that's your goal, and then you just don't do anything else, you're never going to hit it because you just keep doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you need to have a path to get there so you can break it down into actionable steps so you can continually do the thing each day to get there.
And I'm going to say there, if you don't know it, do you just sit back and go, okay, I don't know it. I think it's going to look like this. And now I'm going to go talk to some people to find out if it's kind of like, is that? Like if you don't know how to drive to that place.
So I guess there's two, like best bet is to go ask someone who's done it. If you want to take the harder road and explore it for yourself, because it is a bit more challenging, but it is fulfilling if you do it as well. It just takes longer. What you do is you lay out the plan as you think it would be. Because in reality, a plan is just a theory of, if I do all of these things, this is the outcome I will get. And most plans don't go according to plan.
That's right.
Because this is theory, this isn't a vacuum, and we have reality that comes into it and starts breaking it apart and throwing roadblocks in the way and everything else. So that's what I would do is you create the plan and you go take action. And look, a big part of the next steps are going to answer some of the questions
All right, let's
around
go.
it as well.
All right. So
So
the number one mistake.
People don't like number two.
Yeah.
People don't look at what they're going to say no to. So let's say we want to get 10,000 followers. Let's call it Instagram, right? So there's certain things that you're going to have to do. You're going to need reels. You're going to need stories. You're going to need static posts. You're going to need to do outreach. You may need to run ads depending on where you're at and what you're doing. So there's different things and how quickly you want to get there. All of that's going to take time. So if you are spending money on it and getting other people to help you with that, what are you not spending money on instead? Are you not going to get a new car this year? Are you not going to get a bigger TV? Are you not going to, like, for your business, are you like, oh, I really need to get a new kit out my office again, or we need to redo the kitchen or something like, oh, that's going to have to wait because we're doing this instead. From a time perspective, if we're going, okay, rather than paying with money, we're going to pay with time. Okay, let's say for you to just map out the content, record videos, do the photos, do a bit of editing for yourself, that might take you 4 to 10 hours a week. So what are we not doing with that 4 to 10 hours a week? Well, maybe we're not going out for drinks on a Friday afternoon. Maybe we're not going to lunch with our best friend every day. Maybe we're not going and doing some other program, but we're just focusing here. Maybe we can't sign as many clients as we would want to. So maybe we don't go to 57 networking groups or whatever that is, but like we've got to work out, like, everyone has a certain amount of time. So we need to understand what we say no to. And the problem that I'd say most people have when they go and they set goals and they're big goals and they charge at it is they just add. And then they just get burnt out within the first 2 months. And then they're like, yeah, I can't do this. It's too hard. And it's because they haven't subtracted anything. If they go subtract first, you're a lot more likely to succeed.
I think that's crucial. I'd be guilty of that, and I've seen people be guilty of that. And you think you have to do more to get more done, but it's the subtraction, taking things off the plate to put things on is crucial.
There's always like a billion ways to get somewhere. We need to understand where we want to focus our time and really hone in on that. And then I'm trying to remember who it was. I'm not going to try and pretend I know who it was, but I was going to pull out a quote. I'm not going to. I'm going to say, this is not mine. It's from someone else, and we'll leave it at that. They're talking about, like, focus, like true focus is about having really great opportunities along the way, and you say no to them to get your thing done.
And then Berkshire Hathaway owner, what's his name? Warren Buffett. Sounds like him. He's very big on.
Yeah, I don't think it was Warren Buffett, but I actually think it was maybe Bill Gates, but don't quote me on that. Cut that. No. So yeah, but they don't know what to say no to. And then that rolls into the next one, which is there's no focus on why they want to achieve their goals. Now, what I mean by that is, why do we want 10,000 followers? What does that give us? If we have 10,000 followers, does that mean we're going to be able to monetize that audience to sell through our new program, which is a $50,000 program, and that $50,000 is going to allow me to buy more equipment for my studio so that I can start a podcast. I'm going to use that podcast to then take me to the next step of doing this and then getting brand deals. And, like, what is the path? Why are we doing it? Because you need that. Because things are going to go wrong and it's going to get hard. If you don't have the why behind what you're doing, you're going to stop because you're like, this is hard. I don't like it. Whatever. Oh, it's just another goal. Don't care.
Yeah. Funny. It's just another goal. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the stigma around it, because too many people have set goals and then not achieved them because they haven't done these steps.
Yeah. I often say to people when they say, oh, I want more followers, I go, you've got 6,000. What are you doing with those? Like, I said, you don't need any more. You've got a pool. 6,000 followers is a beautiful pool for some sales, some forms of sale, whether it's a program or even products. So yeah, you've already got the community. It's just networking it, nourishing it.
It's great if you have a massive audience, because it gives you, as long as they're the right people. The problem is if you get a huge audience, you've got the potential there's a lot more people that are in there that aren't actually your people and they're not ready to buy. The thing is, though, is like, if 2% of them are and you have 1 million people, like, that's still what, 20,000 people. No worries. That's good.
That's
Thank
still
you very
right.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're like, yeah, awesome, that's great. But if you've got 6,000 people and 10% of them are ready to buy, that's 600. That is also really good.
That's a great
And then
number.
yeah,
Yeah.
even if it was 2%, what would
Depending on
that
what
do?
you're selling, it's depending
Yeah,
on what you're selling.
120.
Yeah.
If you're like a lawyer, an accountant, a business coach, you're, digital marketer, like, if you're selling at 5K a pop, that's you're not gonna
120 sales. It's
you're
perfect.
not gonna knock that back. So
Yes, you don't always need the big numbers. It's just what you're doing with them.
yeah.
And
Mini
so
segue.
mini segue. So we've got no pathway, no focus, no why, and
Yep.
now
No alignment.
Yep.
So what? You can go through the other three and still have some challenges. Now, the challenge comes up with no alignment. And what I mean by that is, I want to be up here, but I am here right now. And let's say I want to use my 10,000 followers to get me $1 million. Awesome. We're going to get 100 of them to buy. So, do we know how much they need to spend with us to get us to $1 million? Right. And if that number isn't right, like if I'm selling $20 items and they're only going to purchase from me 3 times a year, that is not going to get us to $1 million. Because to get to $1 million, we have to hit 83,333.33
a month.
Yeah.
We all know the monthly figure for $1 million, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So if you and that, it's just not going to get us there. And that's what alignment is. Do I have what I need now? Is it possibly fit? And it doesn't mean that you say no because you've got that $20 thing, but it means that in your plan you have to add in the vehicle to get you there. So you may need to take that $20 item and you may need to start selling $10,000 items or $20,000 items to get you there.
Yeah. And then
Otherwise, the goal you set is not right for what you're trying to achieve.
okay, great. So
Or what you want to achieve may not be this year. You may be building a pathway so that you can get to that.
So that's where the misalignment is, that the target or the goal is just, not achievable with the pathway you've chosen and you haven't aligned that.
Absolutely.
Which happens a lot too. Yep. All right. I like that one. So back to the $1 million. Right.
We have that pathway. That's not a problem.
So then you've got, what's my handwriting saying here? Inevitable.
Yeah, not prepared for inevitable roadblocks.
Yeah. Yes. So $1 million is on the horizon, 83.33 a month, 10,000 followers to get me there.
So let's take it away from the social media for a second. We'll come back to it. But let's say we plan that car trip and we've got kids and we've got all the things. But what haven't we planned for? We haven't planned for toilet breaks.
I was going to say, apparently that happens.
Yeah. We forgot that children need to eat.
There's that.
We haven't gone and checked the oil in the car.
So the car breaks down.
We don't have a spare tire.
Oh,
Like, we're not preparing for the things that could go wrong.
is it because we don't know what they are, or we're just so blindsided?
It's because we're focused that, like, we haven't taken the time to plan out the path, and then, like, the best way to then plan is go, okay, what are the potential things that could go wrong? Because then you're prepared for it. And just do a list of, okay, here's issues that you could have if I have this, and that happens, I'm prepared for it. Because the problem is if you're not prepared for it, inevitable roadblocks. It doesn't mean you need to know every single roadblock, but you need to be aware that roadblocks are going to happen, so that you aren't just deer in the headlights. The car hits you, and that's it. We're done. No more goal.
Yeah, right. It's interesting. I'm actually thinking back to social media at the moment. We're working with a client and we're aiming to build their Instagram following up from 0 to 5,000 in 12 months, purely with organic work. So that's a lift on the Instagram platform. So
I can tell you a roadblock right now to that.
So I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
So we're a month in. We're testing the content to see what's arriving. We're running with first comments. We've got our hashtags down. We're running stories, DMs, trying to warm a very new cold account. Got our influencers, got the things right. So I must admit, I haven't thought about roadblocks per se to this. I've thought about the way my brain's gone into it is, okay, we'll go for a month, we'll read data, see what comes back and see how we have to lift again. I haven't thought about the fact that lift looks like we might have to work longer hours in the outreach. We might have to move something around here or that. I haven't thought about not having a spare tire. I don't even know what that might be. So tell me.
Okay. So the first thing that I would assume come to most people's mind is what happens when the algorithm changes.
Well, isn't it funny? I don't think about that because we ride that, right? Yeah, okay,
yeah.
right.
So that's the first thing.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So sometimes we know that certain things they give less reach to because they're pushing their new thing that comes in or whatever. And we can talk algorithm all the time. It is part of it, but it's driven by people. What happens when the client has an accident and we've only got a month of content, but they're out for 2 months? That's probably a good one. That's going to stop.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What's the process for when their account gets shut down? Like if it gets locked out or someone tries to hack it? Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to throw some roadblocks at you, right? Like that, and
we don't call that stuff in, right?
Yeah, but like inevitably at some point, everyone's social media, they're going to have an issue with their social media. And so LinkedIn is I see this a lot on LinkedIn, is the people, because I live in the space where I'm out there and I'm basically telling people don't be shit, which is a bit borderline with what LinkedIn will accept. So I also am around some of the other people that are pushing the edge or maybe going over that.
Yeah.
And people get locked out of their accounts all the time, and then it takes them a week or 2 weeks to get their account back on track.
It's funny you say that because we work LinkedIn for clients and it's very tricky for us to log in, and work some LinkedIn accounts depending on things.
Yeah, location, stuff like that. Yeah.
Be very careful. In fact, it makes me very nervous at times. I'm like, oh, let's go. So there's certain ways to work LinkedIn because, that is a very tricky algorithm, very tricky security.
What happens if a new platform opens and everyone goes there instead of that one?
Is that Threads?
Yeah, well, I was on their first day and I do not use it anymore.
So yeah, no, that's a great one. I do think about that, but with that one, I do think about 5 years ahead. My brain is there. I'm like, okay, where's this going? What can we do? How can we move around that? So I got that one. I got a few locked out ones. Well, I work with a lot of clients that get locked out or get shut down. So there's that. But yeah, okay, great. So a lot of people don't think about the inevitable in their goal setting, the inevitable roadblocks in their goal setting when they have this amazing idea.
What happens when one of their other marketing methods breaks?
Yeah.
Because ideally, even if we're just focused on the follower growth in Instagram, we want to tie into their marketing. So what if we talk all roads lead to Rome? And for people that potentially may not know what that is, we're setting up everything within that funnel so that when we're putting the offers out there and we want, like, effectively, let's say I had my LinkedIn, my Facebook, and my Instagram, and I'm talking to the same audience. I want to send them all to the same place. You don't have to for every platform, but like all roads lead to Rome means everything we do sends people to the same place. What happens if that place breaks? What happens if it needs to be a different place? What happens, and then how do we should repurpose content. So how we make sure that the people that are redoing and repurposing content, what have we got in place to make sure that they then make the CTA go to the new place?
Yeah, exactly. All the communications part.
Sorry, I got a little bit excited about all the things that could go wrong with social media.
Totally. This is great because we all think about how to make it right? And we all just want to get to there. And I think it's funny when you say, like, let's think about some inevitable problems. It's like, if you haven't driven a car before, how do you even know how to think about what might happen on the road? Like, you and I can go, okay, how do you feed the kids? How do you get the petrol? It's like, because we've driven cars before. But some people are out here saying, all right, I'm going to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram and haven't done anything like it before. So it's like, it's hard to know what to look for as a pitfall. And that's why I was saying to you, is it a good idea to step back and think about what might happen and then go and speak to some people that, as you say, have done it before to tell you, here comes some hurdles. This is what you're up for. Yeah.
And just be prepared that there are going to be hurdles. Like, sometimes you can't see everything. That's okay. But when something happens, it's like, okay, I knew something was going to happen. Where to from here? And if you know where you're going and something's hit, like, I always encourage people, if we have a roadblock, we don't want to go around it. We want to get it out of the way. Because generally when we go around it, it comes up again.
Oof, does it ever?
Yeah. So it's all right. Acknowledge, and I've had this with like clients and stuff like that. Is sometimes, let's say they have a challenge with a particular team member and it just keeps reoccurring. I'm like, look, we need to stop what we're doing and get this resolved so we can move forward. And that may mean that come mid-year, we were hoping to be at 5,000, but we've had to stop and do this. But if we didn't stop and do this, there's no way that we would hit the 10.
Yeah, so there's no use just keep flogging a dead horse, for one of a better terminology, or try to think of a new one. All right, so there's the list of mistakes people make when they make their goals. So if anyone out there has made your 2024 goals and you haven't thought about perhaps some of the inevitable pitfalls that could come along, perhaps you haven't aligned it properly, that's a really, really cool one. And it can sting a little bit when you're halfway through or you've started the run and you're like, oh, hang on a minute, why am I doing this? And is this right? So now would be a good time to take a look at those goals and make sure that they're on point. Because, this year's going quick and we don't want to be sitting here this time next year going, we should have sorted it out now, right? And the why. So knowing the why is super cool. Like, it sounds like a Simon Sinek thing, but I think it's more than that. It's more around, why the hell are we putting all of this effort into it? Where's it actually taking us? So that's super cool.
I'd be lying if I didn't say I was a huge fan of his.
So yeah, he's fantastic. He isn't, or he is?
No, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got back into him again. He's amazing. I actually watched the Why program the other day. So then lastly then, let's finish off with hit predictions for 2024. How's it going to look? What do you reckon? How's it going to shape up?
Okay.
11 months that we've got left of it.
There's going to be more people branching out on their own. It's very easy to spin up for yourself now.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to continue, but it's easy to get started. So I think there's going to be a lot of, like, from that perspective, if you've got a team, look after them and really get them engaged in what they're doing. And if you're in the position to pay above board, make sure they're covered off with all the challenges. Obviously, you want them to be good, and you want to ensure that they're working with you and you're getting outcomes and everything. But it's keeping people is going to be harder than it ever has been, because people can just go out on their own. And there's a lot of very prominent figures that are giving away a lot of really good stuff to help people go and do that. AI obviously is going to become more prevalent. You've experienced this, and for people that don't know, so when I do coaching, everyone leaves with a lovely list of notes of what our wins were, what our challenges were, what we worked on for the previous week, and what we're working on for the upcoming week as part of what they get as a coaching session. I don't actually write that out now. I have my lovely little AI note taker that comes in, who does a really good job of breaking it down exactly how I was talking about, plus some, and gives you a full video recording, and you can go and click on bits to go to that particular part to watch it. That just in itself, I was talking about with one of my IT guy about Copilot, where you can put ChatGPT. Well, Copilot is ChatGPT, but it's in Microsoft 365, and you can talk to it in your thing. And I could go and get it through. I keep a lot of my notes in OneNote. I can go get all the information from OneNote. I can get it to go through my email and go find all the stuff from there. You're going to get an AI VA within your work frame. So it's going to become a lot more prevalent, and I think people should embrace it. However, there's also going to be a lot more pushback on AI. And that's because we're going to see a lot more AI content come out, which I think we're going to talk about next week. We're going to see a lot more AI-driven processes, and people are going to be like, well, what about the human side? What about the human? Because what happens when people try and automate things, there's generally two issues. The first one is they automate things that they probably should have eliminated, but we won't talk about that for the minute. The second one is they automate things before they should, and it negatively impacts the customer experience.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And that is where I think we're going to see a lot of pushback, because people are going to, like, AI excited, let's get in, let's do all this stuff, let's have all these things, and not enough has gone into it. So it's going to negatively impact the customer experience. So people are going to have those experiences, and they're going to be like, no, I want to deal with a person. No, I want to see you face to face. No, I want to do this. There's a lot of deep fake stuff that's going out at the minute as well. That's getting very, very good. And like YouTube's having quite a few problems with like people running deep fake ads at the minute with like celebrities and stuff like that on it. So people are I can just see next 12 months, people are going to be a lot more skeptical of the AI stuff as well.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have the two camps, the believers and the non-believers. So maybe they're not the right terms, but let's just roll that. I think the economy is still going to be tough for the next 12 months.
You think?
Maybe 2 years. Yeah, I think so. It's hard because when you're in business, and if you're doing a pretty reasonable job in business, you have less impact on you than potentially someone who's just working in a 9 to 5, because you have more capacity to go, oh, there's interest rates went up, I'll give myself a pay rise, sort of thing, right?
Okay.
So and if you have a service that people always want, and you do a good job of putting yourself in front of them, you're not going to see the dips, because people always still have some money to spend. They're just more selective about where they spend it. So it sort of leads into the back end of that, is the economy is going to be tough. And I think for those businesses that are doing well or want to really break in and move themselves forward, it's time to double down and really focus on delivering, because what has happened, what has been happening, and what will always happen is a lot of businesses will get very defensive. And if you can keep pushing forward when they're doing that, you start taking market share.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
And the last one is, I think people will be showing appreciation more. There'll be like people will. We've had a challenge where we've gone through all these bursts, and people are less appreciative of things because we've had it feels like a lot of wealth around and a lot of great things, and from a money sense anyway. So I think we've been through COVID, and like I know there's a lot of bad in COVID, but there's been a lot of good that's come for a lot of people as well. And there's a lot of money has been going around. A lot of like people have had easy access to money, and I think that as things get tighter and we think about things a bit more, and it's harder to spend $1 at the shopping center and get the same amount of food and stuff like that. There tends to be a little bit of a shift to appreciation, and a bit more empathy to other people as well.
Wow, that's great. Isn't it? That's
I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Let's call it in. I like it.
How about yourself?
I see authenticity being a big play for this year, and it's going to lose its buzzword status, its marketing buzzword status, and actually become an authentic word again. With AI, people will be looking for more people experience, or wanting to know that there's people behind some things. So that personal touch is going to be huge, whether it be in social media or just in business in general, and just in general. So truth and realness, and as we start swinging right back from where we started this conversation, being you, right, all the way through, is going to be the thing that's going to just change the game for businesses. Building brands around customer ideals, like has always happened. There's a lot more room for the micro, as we were saying, and that's where a lot of the impact will be made this year. AI is going to be huge. We are going to talk about it next week. It's been out now for nearly 18 months. Can you believe ChatGPT came out November the year before? Like,
did we ever not have ChatGPT?
I know, didn't we? Hey?
That's how I feel a little bit.
So the conversation around AI is authenticity and how to drive AI to build your brand as a tool rather than to take over. So I often say AI is the binary, it's the black and white, and you're the color, and it still needs you to drive it. I can't see at this stage it becoming that colorful just yet. It may learn color, but all the experience I have with it at the moment, it still needs us. So AI will be massive. It will be your VA if it isn't already. It will learn. I still think that chat sort of sits it around. On a good day, he's an 8-year-old. It's an 8-year-old. On a bad day, it's 4, and you still got to say chat. No, that's not right. You still got to teach chat, but it won't be long. So there's that, and personal branding. I think you and I have touched on it before, but personal branding is going to be huge because of the authenticity side of things. So company brands are still going to be important to build. They are a great thing to do, a great conversation to have, but you're going to need a personal brand to shine a light back on it, depending on how big you want to get. So if you're a solo operator, start thinking about building out a personal brand, and that involves, as you say, stand up for something, push back against some things, make your stance in the world, be known for that, and stand by your word, and use that to shine a light back on what your business does. So as professional services, people buy you, not what you do. So you're going to have to start to step out from behind the business, and those people that do will lead the way. They'll be the ones that get the business. So that's how I see it go for this year in a nutshell, and it's going to go like that.
Yeah, it's already going like that. One thing I just want to tack onto personal brand, if that's okay, is everyone's already building a brand. It's just whether you're intentional about it or not.
Love it.
It's just like your brand is just, what do people feel about you, and what do they say about you when you're not in them? Is if we can make it very simplistic, and everyone builds that every single day in every action that they take.
Yeah. So just do you, boo.
Yeah. Well, it's just, are you going to do it unintentionally, or are you going to be intentional about it and actually curate it? And that's not me saying that you should go and be inauthentic, to use the word, and tailor it specifically, but you can be intentional about showing who you are and how you show up and what you do.
Very much so. All right. Well, at least
awesome. That was big.
That was big. Covered off quite a bit a lot of time in that time. All right, team. So if you haven't prepared your goals this year, there's some great things not to do, or at least things to think about. If you have, take a look at them, see if they align, see if those 10,000 followers are worth it. If they are they aligned, and can you make $1 million out of it? Is that right?
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to talk about AI. I think it's a good conversation around how to drive the tool, how to use it, and how it could be affecting that brand that we're talking about, because there are some ways where it could be damaging if we're not driving it properly. So let's chat AI next week. Until then, Michael, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
See you next week.
You will.